What's up, guys? Truck Driver 101. Let's talk about choosing a school. Choosing school can be really, really difficult sometimes, but you got to be really, really focused, okay? So the first thing we're going to focus on is, all right, I want to choose a school. What kind of school do I want to go to? A lot of people say, what brand of school? Brand of school is unimportant. It's about what they teach, okay? As far as people that work there, whether they teach or not, that's something you can't really worry about because bottom line is people hire new people every day and you don't know who the assholes are. I don't know. They could have good people today, fire people, and they have bad people tomorrow. It's I can't tell you to go to this school or that school. The school I went to is Truck Driver USA. If you live in Michigan, they're located on, I want to say 9 Mile. They're located on 9 Mile down by I-75. You can look them up. You can go inside and see the recruiters. I haven't been there in 8 years, guys, so I have no idea. I have no idea what you might run into going there. However, as a guy who went to truck driving school, I will say they taught me 45-degree backing, which is the most helpful thing they ever taught us. We went through all our paperwork on our own. So you always had to come with your permits, and you had to come with your certificates so you could go on the road with somebody and train. That's the best thing to do ahead of time because you can learn all that stuff on your own. Just take time, read the books. You can download them on PDFs from usually your state's website, DMV or Secretary of State as we have it in Michigan. The other thing you can do is after you do that, if you're going away to school, and you're going away to go to truck driving school, or you're going to a company that's going to train you, just make sure that you really have little choices in this situation, but you do have some things you can do. One is try to find that trainer that people they give the most praise to. Be very conscious of that because sometimes the guy that everyone likes doesn't train anybody. And sometimes the guy that gives you the hardest time is the guy who you really need to be with. So try to make sure that you make those options, that you take advantage of those opportunities, and that you don't sit there and say, you know what, this guy's, he's not training me, but he's my buddy, right? You don't need a buddy. You need to learn how to drive. Because if you go to the company, I don't care whether it's their school or someone else's school, and you don't know what you're doing, they're going to send your ass back. Don't get me wrong, going through school doesn't really teach you necessarily how to drive perfectly, but it does give you a beginner course. And that's really what you want to know to do. You want to know the basics of backing up, the basics of 45-degree backing, and the basics of the rules and regulations. And after that, once you get on the road, what you learn in training with a trainer is how to break the rules, when to break the rules. A lot of people think we stay with the rules all the time. You don't. Sometimes you have to break the rules. And it's different instances. Like, let's say you're going up a hill and you shift into a gear and the hill is steeper than you thought it was. Well, now you might have to downshift again, or you're going to burn up your brakes, or the Jake isn't slow enough, whatever. So you might have to shift on this mountain. Now, the rules say you should never come out of gear. What you have to do is use your brain and your experience and find a plateau going down the hill that you can literally come out of gear and get in there. Right? I know. I've done it. And once you get that experience on the road with a trainer, you never get in those situations like that again. But in your rookie years, you get in those situations all the time, and it takes a while. A lot of times you're going to make wrong turns. You need a trainer. You need to learn when you can break a rule. Like if you see a sign that says no trucks turn around this parking lot, sometimes you got to turn around the parking lot because there's a low clearance bridge up there. These types of things are what you learn when you're out there with a trainer in the real world. Don't forget everything you learned in school, but just understand that rules are sometimes need to be broken on the road just because of necessity. Believe me, no police officer is about to sit there and go, you should have went up under that low clearance instead of turning around in that big Walmart parking lot. That's not going to happen. As long as you don't hit anything, most cops, they will ignore you. I know. I've turned around in places, looked at the cop, and the cop looked at me like, go ahead there, trucker. Because the last thing he wants to do is to have to go and freaking, sit all day with me stuck under a bridge and fill out a crap load of paperwork. So you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So I don't have any hatred out there. And also another thing, don't let people make you afraid. You know, it's not that bad out here, especially women. You know, it's not as bad as people pretend it is. You know, there's not a lot of sexual harassment out here. You got to watch. You know, you got to treat it with some suspicion when people are acting too friendly. But most people are really nice. And also, if you're a woman, watch it around women, because women are funny. I mean, I've seen women lie and say other women have sexual harassed them. I've seen women like steal from other women, try to hurt other women, you know, try to sexually assault other women. So, you know, you do have to watch that. But even as a man, I got to watch that. There are guys who will try to hurt you, try to sexually assault you. I had a student one time, and this is something too, when you're a student or you're going away to school, make sure you don't tell everybody what you're doing. Don't share all that information with them. So, you know, kind of think about what you're doing. You know, don't just volunteer information to people without reason, okay? You know, don't. And one of my students did this. He was sitting there watching TV. They're watching USA, watching, you know, in NCIS, and they're just sitting there watching this. And he goes, and he starts talking. He goes, yeah, you know, I'm in training. He says, oh, you're in training, huh? Oh, okay. Now, in his mind, what he just heard is you're a rookie and you stupid. So then when he starts going, he says, oh, so where's your trainer? And he goes, my trainer's in the shower. Word of advice, you never tell a perfect stranger where your trainer is. Unless they got a badge and they're a cop, you don't need to know. The trainer is not the boss. He's not. You're out there by yourself, and you need to, you know, he's your backup, okay? So in a situation like that, you might say, you know, I don't know. He was in the truck stop. I'm not sure where he's at. Right, but you shouldn't even be mentioning your trainer in this conversation. Second thing my student says is, okay. My student tells him, yeah, you know, I've only been on the road for 3 or 4 weeks. Now he knows you're a super stupid rookie. Right, so you don't tell somebody that, okay? All right, so, and then secondly, afterwards, the guy looks at him and says, yeah, you know, this is kind of boring. You want to come back to my truck and watch TV? And he went, no. You sure, man? And he kind of grabbed his arm. Right. And I'm sitting there, and he's telling me this story, and I'm like, and I look at him, and I'm like, dude, why would you tell anybody any of that information? And I had to remember, a lot of times when you deal with a lot of guys from college or small towns, well, not small towns, but places where everybody's buddy-buddy, he doesn't understand there's predators out here. You know, so while he's sitting there talking to this guy, and he grabbed his arm, somebody else walks in the room, and he lets his arm go and shit. And then he just says, yeah, man, I'll see you later, and walks away from it. That's real. That wouldn't have happened had he not been too friendly. Now, that may not happen to you. Don't be afraid by that story. But you need to have your wits about you. There's some bad people out here. They male and female, and you never know. But 99% of the time, good people all the time, okay? That's just it. That's Truck Driver 101. Go to my website, truckdriver101.com. You can click through. There's jobs there. Click through down at the bottom. And you can go to the website and check out. There's jobs there on the right, and there's lots of helpful information there. Talk to you guys later.